Hello, welcome to Travelling Threads Crochet. In today's video I'm going to show you how to make this headband, this cute headband. I've been making quite a few of these recently because, as you can see, it's autumn here and there are some winter markets coming up, so I'm hopefully going to sell some of these, fingers crossed, but I'm going to keep this one for myself. So in this video, I'm going to show you a general overview, round by round, how to make this headband. We're going to use stitches like front post, back post ribbing, working in the back loop only of the single crochet stitch. We're going to use this textured wheat stitch, and we're also going to start the project with a double crochet foundation chain. So if you are familiar with these stitches, fantastic, let's jump right in. If you're a little bit unsure about some of these stitches, then I do have some slowed down tutorials of these individual stitches that are used, so if you want to check those out first, then go ahead. But other than that, let's grab our hooks and let's get making. To make this headband, I would recommend using either DK weight yarn or Aran weight yarn, and in this video I'm going to be using paint box yarn wool mix Aran in this off-white colour, and I'm going to be using 3 different sizes of crochet hooks. I'm going to be using a 3.5mm, a 4mm and a 4.5mm crochet hook. This will help to shape the headband from the ribbing. I'm going to be using a 4mm at the bottom of the headband. Then in the middle section with the puff stitches, I'm going to be using a 4.5mm hook. And then at the very top where it kind of cinches in, at the top of the hairline, I'm going to be using a 3.5mm hook to help it kind of close in a little bit. So grab whichever yarn you want to use and some hooks to help shape your headband, and we can start the project. To start the ribbing, I'm first going to make a double crochet foundation chain, and if you're not very familiar with making double crochet foundation chains, I do have a slow step-by-step video how to do this technique, so please check that out first if you want to, if it will be helpful. I'm going to start with a slip stitch, and I'm going to leave a slightly longer tail than maybe I usually would, because I'm going to use this to weave in the bottom of the headband at the end. So attach your yarn with a slip knot, and we're first going to chain 3. And then I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook into the first chain made, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we have 2 double crochets. Yarn over, insert your hook into the base, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And continue, yarn over, insert your hook into the base, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So I'm going to keep making this double crochet foundation chain until I have 70 stitches. I think after making a few of these, I'm going to need 70 stitches. You continue to make a foundation chain until it fits comfortably around the circumference of your head, and it needs to be an even number of stitches. So if when you've reached the circumference of your head, it's an odd number, then either just add an extra 1 or drop down an extra 1. And I will keep making this, and I will meet you once we have the right number to join it into a circle. So I've made 70 stitches in my double crochet foundation chain, and I just want to check if it fits around my head, which it does. So that's great. So now we can join the circle. Bring your double crochet foundation chain into a circle. Make sure that it's not twisted in any place. Find the chain 3 that we first started the double crochet foundation chain with, and slip stitch into the top chain or the 3rd chain.
Oh, this yarn's a bit splitty. Once you've slip stitched, make a chain 1 just to secure it. And then, yeah, just double check that it's not twisted in any place. And this long tail that we left at the beginning, we can use that to weave into the base of the double crochet foundation chain to secure that part of the band. I'm going to do that a bit later. So to start round 2, we're going to be making front posts and back posts, so 1 by 1 ribbing. Again, I do have a slow step-by-step video how to make front post and back post ribbing. So if you're not very familiar with it and you want a more slowed down video, then please go and check that out. So I'm going to lift up my yarn a little bit and I'm going to make a front post around the chain 3. So I'm going to grab my yarn, go around the back of the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, then yarn over, pull through 2, and that's the first front post done. So the next stitch is going to be a back post. Going to yarn over, go around the back of the post, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, then yarn over, pull through 2. And so the next one will be a front post again. So yarn over, work behind the post, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, then yarn over, pull through 2. And the next stitch will be a back post. So I'm going to yarn over, go behind and then in front of the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. I'll make a couple more. Yarn over, go around the back of the post, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then one more back post, so yarn over, go behind the post, push through, and around the front of the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we're just going to work all the way round the circle, front post 1, back post 1, to create this nice ribbing effect. And I will see you once I've worked around the circle to join it here. I'm coming to the end of round 2. I just have 2 stitches remaining. So I'm going to place a front post and then the last stitch in your round should be a back post. Once you've made your last back post, you just need to find the top of the first front post that we made and slip stitch into the top of it. Then chain 1 to secure it, and I'll just show you how that looks. So looking like this beautiful texture. The next round, round 3, is going to be exactly the same as round 2. So we're just going to do another round of front post, back posts. If you raise your yarn up a little bit, we're going to place a front post on top of the first front post. And the second stitch, we're going to place a back post on top of the back post. And that should be the same all the way around. So on top of every front post, put another front post. On top of every back post, put another back post. And I will meet you once we've gone all the way around the circle. I'm at the end of round 3. I've made my final back post and I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the first front post that we made and chain 1. So it should be looking something beautiful like this. And now I'm going to switch up to my 4.5mm hook, and you can switch up if you want to as well to make the middle section of the headband a little bit more drapey. And I'm going to turn the work, so we're going to be working on the wrong side of the headband for this round, and it's just going to be single crochet all the way. So place one. If you want to place a stitch marker, go ahead and do so, but hopefully it should be fairly easy to find once you go around the circle. So I have 70 stitches, so I need to make sure that I place 70 single crochets, and you need to make sure that however many stitches you are working with, you have one single crochet in each of them. So I will keep working around the circle and meet you back to join the round. I've worked 70 single crochets, and I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the first single crochet at the beginning of the round. I'm going to chain one, and we need to turn the work again. So for round 5, we're going to be working on the right side of the headband. And this is also going to be single crochet, but it's going to be single crochet in the back loop only. If you're not very familiar with working in the back loop only, I do have a slow step-by-step video how to do this technique, so please feel free to check that out if it would be helpful. But if not, we'll go ahead here. So the first one can be just a little bit tricky. I'm going to tilt the work forward and work into the back loop of the previous round, single crochet. So the first one always looks a little bit dodgy, but from now on it's going to look great. So all the way around, single crochet in the back loop only. We're going to do this to create a little bit of extra texture. It's going to look really pretty, like a textured ridge along the round. If I make a few more, and then I'll show you how it's looking. So as you work along, single crochet back loop only, you should be creating this little ridged effect that looks really nice. So let's go ahead, work this round, and I will meet you back at the beginning. I'm at the end of round 5, and I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the first single crochet that I made, and I'm going to chain one. And for round 6, we need to turn the work again, so we're going to be working on the wrong side of the back loop only, and this is going to be the first round of our puff stitches that make up the wheat stitch. So to begin, I'm going to single crochet 1, and I'm going to place a stitch marker on this one because at the end of these puff stitch rounds I do find it a bit tricky to find the first single crochet to slip stitch into, so if you want to do that as well, then go ahead. So once we've made the first single crochet, instead of working forwards in the round, we're actually going to place the first puff stitch into this empty stitch behind the single crochet. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the stitch behind, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over and pull up. So I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I have 7 loops on the hook in total. I'm going to yarn over and draw my hook through 6 of those loops. So now I have 2 loops on the hook. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull through those last 2 loops for my first puff stitch. And I will say, with different yarns that I've used making this headband, I have yarned over 4 times on occasions. It just depends on the type of yarn that you're using and how puffy or how bulky you want your puff stitches to be. So I think for this one I did 4 yarn overs, but with this yarn here I'm going to go for 3 yarn overs for the puff stitch just because I think it looks better. And so going forward, I'm going to skip the next stitch, and then in the following stitch place 1 single crochet, and then working backwards again into the skip stitch, I'm going to place another puff stitch. Yarn over, pull through 6, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we've made 2 puff stitches. Next, skip the next stitch and then make a single crochet in the following stitch. Then working backwards again into the skip stitch, make another puff. And continue this round with this 2-stitch repeat pattern. So skip the next stitch, place a single crochet, then work back into the skip stitch to make a puff stitch, and that's the same all the way round. And if you want it broken down even more, I do have a slow step-by-step video about how to make wheat stitch in the round, so please go ahead and watch that if you feel it would be useful. Otherwise, I will keep working these beautiful puff stitches and I will meet you back here at the end to join the round. Coming to the end of round 6 and I have 2 stitches remaining, so I'm going to skip a stitch and work a single crochet and then work the final puff stitch into the remaining skip stitch. Now I'm going to remove the stitch marker and slip stitch into the top of that first single crochet. Chain 1, and this is how row 6 should be looking, more or less, with these beautiful puff stitches. And now we're going to turn the work. So for round 7 we're going to be working on the right side of the headband. So begin by placing a single crochet. Place a single crochet on the top of the single crochet from the previous round, and again I'm going to place a stitch marker so that it's easier to find at the end of the round. And round 7 is going to be exactly the same as round 6. So instead of working forwards, the first thing we want to do is to work a puff stitch into this empty stitch behind the single crochet. Once you've made your first puff, we're now going to skip the stitch, skip the puff stitch that's next as we work on the round, and place a single crochet on top of the single crochet. And then we want to work the puff stitch into this skip stitch, which is on top of the puff from the previous round. Then skip the next stitch, which is a puff stitch, and make a single crochet on top of the single crochet. Then go back and work your puff stitch into the skip stitch. And keep working like that. So the same as round 6, you're going to be skipping the puff stitch, place a single crochet on top of the single crochet, then go back and work a puff stitch on top of the puff stitches from the previous round. And I will do those stitches and I will meet you back here to close the round. I'm at the end of round 7, so I'm going to remove the stitch marker from the first single crochet and slip stitch into the top of it and chain 1. So far your headband should be looking something like this. For round 8, you're going to want to turn your work so you're working on the wrong side of the headband. And in fact, rounds 8, 9, 10 and 11 are going to be repeats of rounds 4, 5, 6 and 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write those next steps down on the following slide so you can follow these repeats. and that will bring us to about here in the headband, this last row of puff stitches. So please follow the steps on the next slide and I will meet you once we get here, and then we will almost be done. So I've finished round 11. I've worked the 4 round repeats. So I made a round of single crochet, then single crochet in the back loop only, then a round of puff stitches on the wrong side, and then a round of puff stitches on the right side. And so now I'm going to start round 12. And for this round 12, I'm going to switch down to my 4mm hook, which is the same size hook that I used on the ribbing. And round 12 is going to be done on the wrong side of the work. So turn your work around so you're working on the wrong side of your headband. And round 12 is going to be straight up single crochets, so nice and easy. So I'm going to work 70 single crochets. You work however many single crochets you need to, and I will see you once we've finished all our single crochets, and I will join you to close the round at the other side. I've made my 70 single crochet stitches, so I'm going to close the round by slip stitching into the top of the first single crochet made. I'm going to chain 3 because that is going to count as a double crochet for the start of the next round. But before we begin, I'm going to switch down again to my 3.5mm crochet hook because I want these next rounds to really cinch in for the top of the headband. I'm going to turn the work to be working on the right side of the headband. As I said, this chain 3 does count as the first double crochet of the round, and we are going to be making double crochet in the back loop only for the entirety of this round. So yarn over, tilt your work forward and find the back loop and make your double crochet in there. Moving along, tilt your work forward, find the back loop and make your double crochet into the back loop only. So I'll make a few with you so we can see how the ridge builds. So this is actually going to be the start of our top ribbing section, but we want to create the same textured ridge that we did earlier on in the headband to match. So here's how it's looking. Double crochet in the back loop only to produce this textured ridge. I'm going to complete the round. I will meet you back here at the end to join it, and then we're going to start the ribbing. To close round 13, slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 we made at the beginning of the round. So into the 3rd chain. Chain 1. Now for rounds 14 and 15 we're going to be working on the right side of the headband, so don't turn your work at the end of these rounds. These are going to be repeats of round 2 and round 3 of the front post and back post ribbing. So to begin, raise up your yarn a little bit and make a front post around the chain 3 from the previous round. And then the next one will be a back post. And following on, a front post. And then the next one will be a back post. So as I said, it's going to be a repeat of rounds 2 and round 3 from the bottom ribbing. front post 1, back post 1, and repeat all the way around the circle, and we will come here and close, and then repeat again for round 15 as well, and then I will meet you once we've done these 2 rounds of front post and back post ribbing. I've just finished my last back post of round 15, but instead of slip stitching to the top of the first front post made, I'm actually just going to, I've cut my yarn, I've left quite a long tail, and I'm going to pull that yarn through so that it's free, and I'm going to attach it to a darning needle, and I'm hoping this is going to give it a slightly neater edge to finish the headband with. So now I'm attached to the darning needle, I'm going to come round the back of the top of the front post. I'm going to bring the darning needle and the yarn through, like so. And then I'm going to feed it back through the front of the back post. And just pull it very gently so it leaves a nice, neat edge that matches the other stitches. Then I'm going to come round the back, and then I'm just going to weave it in, and I'm going to use this long tail to weave it in quite a lot, going in and out to make sure that it's secure and that it won't come free later on, because of course the headband will be taken on and off quite a lot, so you might want to secure it, maybe even use a knot if you wish to. And just go in and out. Lots of times I tend to work along the post itself. Once you feel that it's nice and secure, you can cut the yarn. And I'm also just quickly going to show you, going back to our very first double crochet foundation chain where we left the long tail. Again, I'm going to attach it to the darning needle. And once again, I'm going to come round the back of the first stitch, bring it through, and then I'm going to feed it through the front of the next stitch. Pull it gently so I have a nice neat edge, come round the back of the work, and then start to weave it in. And again, you might want to use a knot or two, however you prefer to weave in your ends, just so it's going to be nice and secure as the headband is coming on and off. And when you're happy that it's woven in nice and tightly, then you can snip the ends. So there we have it. There is the finished headband. I hope you've enjoyed this make. I hope it's been nice and clear, and I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me. Bye.